God.
looked like we were ready to bring it in that picture. I saw the picture, I was like,
Seriously.
yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're just like...
Look at that.
I can't even do the pose anyway.
Dropping it.
I don't even know.
Dropping it.
Dropping it, son.
I remember when I had that picture done. I was at Gabriel's, and
sounds like a bar.
It is not, but it could be. But it's not.
Okay.
Or in this case, it's not. It could be. There could be a bar called Gabriel's, but Gabriel is a photographer. He's a friend of mine.
Hey, Gabriel.
Amazing photographer. And actually, he's gonna come on the show. We can have him on this show even.
Heck yeah.
I had him on one of the shows. What show did I have him on? I don't even remember. I had him on a show a while back. But anyway, point is, I was at Gabriel's. I am the most awkward. What would you call it? Like, I guess photography
participant.
Yeah, there we go. I'm going with that.
Volunteer.
Because I was like, what would that be called? Because I don't even know. But anyway, I'm the most awkward, like the most awkward ever. Like, I don't care. Obviously, if you see me like doing this stuff on here,
right?
I don't know what it is. Most people are the opposite. They don't mind having their picture taken, but they don't want to like talk live. Right. I don't even care about talking live. I don't care about embarrassing myself all day long. I don't actually get embarrassed. Which we could talk about whether I should or not all day long, but I don't. So anyway, but whenever somebody wants to take my picture, it gets awkward. It's like there's a lot of pressure there, and they just like stare at you. They just like look at you, and you're just supposed to do nothing. You're just supposed to, or like
they're like,
smile.
All right,
or you say stuff like, just look powerful. And I'm like,
what?
Does this do it for you? And he's like, no. And I was like, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's really bad. It's really bad. Which he would tell you this. I don't know what it is, but it's not a good experience for me. It's a lot of pressure to like, it's like that's permanent forever. Like, and I guess this is too, but why does it seem like, I don't know why, explain this to me psychologically.
You're thinking about it. It's whether you're thinking about it or not thinking about it.
Maybe that's what it is. Because on this, I'm just talking, right? I'm just talking to you. I don't care. I don't think about it.
And you're moving.
But on there, I have to be real still, and I'm just like, and then I just like find myself like.
Well, the funny thing is even though you say that, your pictures came out great.
Some of them were all right, and then some of them...
Like that photo that just popped up, I was like, okay. I was like, get it, Maria Daniels! Like, that
so, and I think the ones that turned out really good was the ones where he just took it. And
those are the best pictures, the unplanned ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's the difference, because I think I've been a part of photo shoots. Yeah. I've been a part of photo shoots. And it's like, when somebody's telling me to do something, I'm like, well, first of all, what do you mean by that? That's number one. Yeah. And number two, if what I'm thinking in my head of what I think you mean, is that what you're seeing right now? And then when I see the picture, it's like, nope, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not what
it just creates, So because then in my mind, they're like, hey, be fierce. I'm like, wait, does that look, is that what fierce is? Is that what fierce is to you? Do you mean that? Do I actually look, I feel fierce right now, but do I look fierce? And there's a lot of pressure because once it's over and done with, you get it back, you look at it like you just said, you're like, nah, that wasn't it. So then it's already done. Too late.
You're too late.
You have ruined it. It's destroyed. No going back. No takesies backsies.
Oh my goodness.
So speaking about, did it stink?
Oh my God.
I've been waiting to do that.
You're like, come on, can I do it? Can I do it?
Did it stink? What about 2021, Stacy?
What'd you say?
So what is 2021? What was 2021 to you? Did it stink?
To me? No. I think, for me it was enlightening. If anything, I think every year for me, I learned something new, whether it's about myself or, stuff. I read a lot. I read more than any other year in my entire life.
Was that a goal? Was that one of your goals?
I think subconsciously it was. I think it wasn't like a real plan, but I think for me, like we were talking about the other day, sometimes I could be an extremist in things. So once I start to do something, I'm like, do more, like just do more. And then I'm not really thinking about, read 10 books, right? Do more. Yeah. So,
I'll just be your backup.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. All right.
A new single from Spontaneity starring Maria Daniels. Do more. Oh my God, it's like that song. It's like, ooh, I wanna tra la la. It's a weird song. Yeah.
So,
anyway.
Well, so that's a good thing though. I love how we both do this, where we'll be like all like, yeah, and reading it really enlightened me. It was so great.
And then bring it around somehow. Like, yeah, so.
And I'm serious. That one book by Napoleon Dynamite, it just.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of this show, though, because.
Yeah.
Spontaneity, right? When it comes to you, just do it. And
exactly.
Honestly, I love that. I love that we're like that, Stacey. I love it.
Yeah, amen to that. You know, we get to be ourselves. We get to like segue and then bring it back. You know, It's like, and this is why we're on the journey to help 50 million people with their lives.
50
million.
Where did you get that number?
Just being spontaneous.
Okay. I'm game for it. We can do that.
Yeah, we can do it.
We can do that.
One, and then like one person shares, and then just
honestly, I think that's what the world needs. The world needs a little bit more just spontaneity.
Hell yeah.
Doing it because it's fun. Just deciding, you know what, I'm going for that walk. Just deciding, you know what, I don't know if I'm gonna fall on my face, but I'm gonna start that business anyway.
Yep. Exactly.
I think the world needs more of that. I think a lot of people are just afraid of the failure, but that's a funny thing. When you get to the point where you've done a lot of things, and you've failed a whole lot of times, failure does not scare you at all anymore. You're just like, I've already done that. I'm good.
We have this false idea that once you start something, it has to look exactly the way it needs to look when you start it. Like, it can't change. Like, it needs to be this perfect, pretty package. And if you make a mistake, but I think that's like our own thoughts, right? Like, those are our own thoughts saying like, I was going to try this and I'm hoping it's going to work out. It's like, well, what if you learn something along the way versus I think it's going to work out, but then deep down you realize maybe you don't want it to. It's weird.
I think that happens.
It's weird space back there in the subconscious.
It is. Well, and I think sometimes it's that, you start out because we always talk about the why and the purpose, of everything, because everything has why and purpose. But we start out because of that why and that purpose. And what changes typically is not the why and the purpose, it's the action steps.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Typically that's what's changing. And I think I'm a lot like that on a lot of things. Like we talked about, I think it was last week or whatever, about, I don't do well. Well, actually, we talked about this yesterday, just between us two. I don't do well with rigid plans. Like I don't, because then if it said like, 1:16 p.m. and it's 1:17 p.m., I'm just like, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Again, I give up. I've ruined the entire day. And I know that about myself. But at the same time, I also don't think about it like that if things change on the course of, hey, Sarah.
Sarah.
Love Sarah. I love Sarah. But on the course of, just trying a business plan or trying a new course or trying, something like that, I don't look at it the same if I start out saying, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do, A, B, C. And then I figure out, oh, A is working good. B, that's a pointless waste of time for me. But C, we'll see. See what I did there? And then I decide to take B and make it something else. I don't look at that the same. To me, and I used to say pivot all the time before all that word's been misused, abused, and all the things. Yeah. So I don't know what to say anymore. But I used to just take that and just kind of twist it over here and do something else with it. And to me, that I like that doesn't bother me. I mean, for me personally, that doesn't bother me. I look at that as just kind of like part of navigating. It's almost like a kayak. Have you ever been kayaking?
No, but I would like to.
Okay. So, well, if you've not, actually, even if you have been on the same stream before, water
You said
changes.
Stream, you know, like we're on the stream.
Be here all week. All right. So, even if you've been on the same stream, water, I mean, it changes. It's going to be different. It technically is a different stream every time because it's different water. But even, how deep it is, where it's going to be a little more rough, all that stuff changes. But what my options of what I'm going to do are the same options. You know what I'm saying? So that, to me, that's how I kind of look at the business scope of things on how I navigate. It's like, I did this stream, last year, but maybe it was a little more of a drought last year. Or maybe they just had some heavy rains a couple weeks ago this time.
Right.
It's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
But, I only have so many options on what I choose to do to be able to navigate that. And it's the same thing like in the business world. So, I mean, for me, that's not been my struggle. Like I said, I have fallen on my face enough times that I'm like, I know that's par for the course, but I do have my things, I do have my things that I struggle with. But I feel like you were saying, like, you subconsciously, read more this year, and it was subconsciously a goal. I feel like I get better and better at, being able to find those little nuggets like that and being like, okay, well, I wasn't planning on this working, but look what happened over here. And then taking that and utilizing that. Do you feel that, and you can ask me questions too, but this just hit my head. Do you feel that there was like things that you wanted to do 2021 that you didn't do?
Yeah. I think there were some things that, because like we were talking about planning and stuff like that, I'm starting to see the bigger picture now with the different categories in my life, like home, personal, self-love, environment, business. Like I'm starting to see all the pieces of the pie, which in the past I thought there were only two pieces. You know what I mean? I thought it was just two rectangles, like me and the world. You know what I mean? And now I'm realizing, like, oh, there's like all these different. It was
two sheet cakes.
Yeah, like two sheet cakes. Exactly.
And you're like, what? It's a pie?
Yeah. It's like, holy crap, it's a pie. I didn't know. And I think that's the thing. That's why I learned a little bit more. Like I ventured into that space a little bit with two life coaches or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, like, okay, there's different things that I gotta work on here. But yeah, I think there's things that now I'm like, all right, yeah, I definitely got to get this vision board thing going, because it's so funny. Everything, I don't know let me know if this happened to you. Was there ever a moment in your life where you didn't realize you were doing things vision board like you had the habit, but you didn't realize it was actually working? And then all of a sudden now you're like, oh, people have like a name for this. Like, you ever have that moment?
Yeah, it's funny because I use it in sentences now. Like, I've just always known this from the time that I came out of the womb. But no, I did not even know. I didn't even know what a vision board was up until, gosh, when was it?
Hey, Facebook
probably
user.
2000. Hey. I don't know, maybe Tina. Are you Tina? Tina, is it you? No, but anyway, I didn't even know what it was. And it was funny because it was kind of during my transition from my corporate life into owning my own business, which was just like, hey, it's Michelle. Hey, Michelle.
Michelle, how you been?
It was Maria trying to go, like, I don't want to be in corporate, and then starting my own business. And I'm like, wait, I am corporate, because I thought I still had to do that, because I was like, wait, this is the same. But that's because I was making it the same. It was because I was making it the same. I figured out later. But
interesting.
Anyway,
right?
The point is, I excited to go to this thing, right? And they're like, yeah, we're gonna get ready for the new year. We're building our vision board. I'm like, yeah, vision board. I'm like Googling, what's a vision board? I'm like, because I was like, yeah, totally. We definitely want to get that done. We got to get that done. We don't want to like hit the new year without a vision board. Definitely not professional business people do, right? I had no idea, like no freaking clue.
Right.
And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, yeah, I kind of do this. Now I didn't go all extra like they did. Like they went all extra.
I can only imagine. It's like scrapbooking on steroids.
It really, for real, was. It
Yeah.
was just like, and I was like, yeah, I do this every year. This is me. I do this all the time. I do this all the time.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't. But what I did was, you know, I always have my little notebooks and planners and all that kind of stuff. And like, sorry, my ADHD, Michelle said, yeah, I seen your dad wasn't feeling good. And
wishing you the best.
Yeah,
sending positive vibes to you and your family, Michelle.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, for me, yes, I guess that's like the 5-hour version of the answer to your question is I figured out from Googling that stuff. It's like, well, I do that now, but I just do it with my planner. Like, I love planners. I get excited about a new year because I'm like, that means I get a new planner. And that means I get to make all new marks in it. I can decide what colors I want to use. I can decide all this
stickers, stuff like
that.
Yeah,
all that stuff. It's like I get so excited about the new planners.
Yeah.
Because even if there was something I didn't like the way I wrote it, like that looks dumb. That's not how I wanted to write it. I don't have to worry about it because that one's gone. It's gone recycling. I get a whole new, brand new, fresh planner. So to me, that was how I kind of did it. I would kind of dream and envision, and I really like bullet journaling for that too. Like I always have a bullet journal and a planner. They don't love me. Now that's how I am with actual like journals. So I just said that I love bullet journals because I do. Because bullet journals, there's no rules. You can put a calendar on there. You can draw a picture. You can write there's no rules. What I have found with journaling, I cannot have rules attached to it, or I'm going to cry and quit, and then try again, and then cry and quit, and try again, over and over.
Where's my journal?
Because I have been in some of those groups where it's like, every day write 3 things for this, and every day write and it's great. And I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying that does not work for me because I'll write 3 things today. Tomorrow I can think of no things ever in my entire life. And for most people, they'll be like, oh, that's fine. I can think of nothing today. I'll just start again tomorrow. There you go.
Tiny little.
But I love that. Yeah, but then, you know.
I have more than one, though.
Well, did you ever try journaling though? Like
What do you mean by that?
So,
journaling.
Journaling. Like where, like you sit down and you do like your gratitude journaling and I actually like it, but what I figured out is I had to kind of make my own version of it. Gratitude journaling
you mean
was a big game changer for me, like listing things you're grateful for and blah 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 blah. But I took a little workshop on how to gratitude journal, and I'm not gonna like mention it because then the things I have to say next is gonna make people go, oh, why did you just throw her under the bus like that? And it wasn't her, it was actually me. It was not her. I mean, what she taught was great and valid.
Right.
It just at that moment I tried to copy paste it into my life and my brain and my actions, and we are totally different people. And that was a struggle for me. I have, you know how I mentioned last week that I had my cork board of like shame? Yeah. I recycled them now, but I did have like journals of shame, like multiple journals of shame where I would start them to be like, this time it's going to be different. I'm going to do all the steps that I'm like censored name told me to do, and I'm going to be amazing like her, and it's going to be so great and wonderful. And I would do like 3 days, and then something would happen. I ended up skipping a day, and normal people would be like, oh, that's fine. I'll just go the next day. Nope. I quit for the whole year. I'm like, that's it. I'll just have to try next year. I ruined it because it's a 365-day plan.
Oh my God.
You have to do this every single day.
Oh my God.
And I even tried cheating the system. There was a couple times.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because I wouldn't do a day, sometimes 2, and then I'd go back and be like, okay, let's see, Tuesday I was grateful for, and then I just like make things up.
Be like, cheese.
Tuesday I was grateful for my house and my kids. And
like it wasn't like intentional.
What's hysterical is I really wasn't doing the deep work. Because if you looked at it, it was like you could tell how many times I cheated on it. Because it'd be like my house, my kids, my family. Yeah, I would just be like stuff I just pulled out of air when I wasn't actually.
It's like, what do you see? I'm grateful
every
for
day is like the
plants,
same.
coffee.
Yeah. Yep. And then I'd be like, yes, my gratitude journaling. Gratitude journaling is good for me. And
Oh my goodness.
but what I figured out was that, like with scheduling and all those things, I had to make it work for me. Gratitude journaling has been a game changer in my life, and I can actually say that without lying. But it's because I don't put myself to a rigid rule. I have a gratitude journal. When I feel inspired to write it, I do.
Right.
When I'm looking for inspiration because I'm not feeling inspired, I'll read through stuff I wrote before. That's how I use it now. It's not like a 365-day plan. It's a, hey, I have this notebook, and when it's full, I go to the next one. I don't care if it takes 10 days, 10 years. That's how I do it. And that is way less pressure for me. And that's how it's there. I know, my own version of the rules to it, but it's not like such a rigid rule where it says, hey, Maria, at 6 a.m. every day, you get up and you write 3 things that you're grateful for. And I'm sitting there going, don't know what and then I'm making it up. You know what I mean?
It's like, I woke up, right? I mean, come on. Hey.
It's like, I'm grateful. Seriously, like, I wish I might still have one. I thought about keeping one. Maybe I actually did. I'll have to look, because you could tell that it's like pulled out of my butt. It's like pulled out of my butt.
Yeah, it's not like it's just like stuff. Like, you didn't write like, look, like I really feel connected with blah 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 or something like that.
Well, did you ever have to like do any like things in school where they're like, introduce your name and then tell something,
or
tell like, something about yourself, or tell a hobby you like, and you're always like, I really like doing crafts, and I like playing with my friends. You're like just thinking. I mean, that's how it was with me whenever I was doing graduate job. I'm like, I'm thankful for my house and my kids and warm clothes, and I'd be drinking coffee.
It's like word association, like whatever's in the room.
Yeah, it wasn't that I was so inspired by something I just wanted to write about it, which is really the point. And I mean, and if you're the type of person who's doing like that type and that works for you, great. It didn't for me. It was like a chore. It was something I felt like I had to do, that was supposed to have this meaning, this purpose, this value, and I was robbing myself of the value by holding myself to a rigid plan that wasn't meant for me.
Yeah. I realized, like, even with me, I guess kind of like what we discussed yesterday. It's like I like planning, but not too much. It's especially when I journal. I think most of the times when I do journal, it's to kind of like get things out of my head, because I tend to over process things and I can't really see what's actually presently happening. It's like I could see it, but is that what it is? It's like, okay, write down what you're feeling. Like, look at it. Like, is that what's happening? Like, but what I do is I realized, it's so funny. I was looking in my journal. I was like, I actually do have a journal structure, and I didn't even realize that I did. But usually it's like, okay, I need to offload something that's in my brain, and then I get to a gratitude part, because I'm just like, oh, it's not what I thought it was or what it seems. And then I do get to that part where it's like, look, like you're fine. Like, everything's fine. It's just, it feels weird because or whatever. And it leads into some form of gratitude, which is kind of interesting, because I was like, when I looked at my journal entries, I don't know if you ever go back in your journal, before you woke up.
It's not pretty. I actually thought about burning them, because I imagine myself dying and my kids reading that and being like
yikes. Yeah, I'm cool with people finding out if and when that day comes, they look back and like, damn, she felt like that. Yes, I felt like that, but the thing is, the outcome is I still showed up. You know what I mean? Even if I was going through a tough time, or if I was confused or undecided, or even if I was having a great day, it's like it shows the exact. I mean, every journal I've had shows what life is, which is just like everyone else's, where it's like things are great, Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they really suck. But guess what? The good day is gonna come back again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's cool. It's cool.
Well, and I think that's the good part is that, Tom, I was talking to Thomas, the Free Me podcast, Thomas, earlier. I just recorded. We didn't go live, but I recorded. I'm with him earlier, and he was talking about how, there's sunny days and there's rainy days, and
Yep.
I think about that a lot too. It's as much as I complain, I'm like, oh, it's gray and rainy. You have to have the rain to be able to make all the things that I love grow.
Right.
And you have to also have the sun. There has to be a balance. And it's the same thing with, just life. You're going to have the bad days and, you're going to have good days. It doesn't matter how crappy of a life that you think you have, you're still going to have good days. And it doesn't matter how great of a life you have, you're still going to have bad days, so.
Exactly.
And I think it's just realizing that and kind of being in a moment of just being present within it and knowing if you're going through those really tough days, that there is a light at the end of that tunnel, and that, you just wait for the sun to come out, because you're going to have that. You're going to have those hard days. But I don't know. I mean, I think that going back to 2021, I think 2021 for me was, I purposefully made it another year of pause, honestly, a little bit. Like, I mean, I did stuff throughout the year, but I was more trying to figure out what I wanted to continue to do, what was going to fit. I was trying not to be in a big hurry to decide, which is huge for me, because I am one of those people that I want it done now, and I'm instant gratification.
I know.
So that, like, 2020, obviously, for a lot of us was kind of a paused year, just because that's when everything kind of changed for a lot of people. And, I embraced that and kind of took that in stride as almost an excuse. Like, sounds bad. I was thankful for that year, because it gave me the ability to have an excuse to just pause. Even though I figured out I was only giving myself the excuse because nobody else was telling me that I had to do it. I was telling myself I had to. It gave me the excuse to kind of be like, okay, well, I don't have to decide anything because it's COVID and nobody's doing anything. And it allowed me to kind of figure out, like, okay, take a break and really think things through, which I had never given myself the chance to do. And I noticed that year was actually, and I feel bad when I always say it, because that was a horrible year for a lot of people. That was one of my better years.
Wow.
And I almost feel guilty for saying that, because it's a bad year for a lot of people.
But if it's your
for me, it was a better year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for me too, I learned a lot. You know what I mean? I learned more. I think for me, it's not that I didn't learn before. It's not like I didn't learn before. I think for me, what it was is that I gained clarity in spaces where I've kind of been avoiding. You know what I mean? Or just not paying attention to certain things. It's just like, oh my God. Like, I think it gave me just a new awareness of, I'm always putting, I'll do it later. And I think last year, or was it last year? Yeah, last year, I'm just like, oh, like, you don't, just like what I was telling you with Bob Proctor's quote, about talking about the hourglass. You don't know how much sand you have up there, like at the top. You don't know, you see the past, you see all the sand going to the bottom, but the reality is you don't know how much sand is at the top of your hourglass. And I think that's what it was for me. And that's why I made such drastic changes, which I'm grateful for, because I learned a lot about me, and I learned about what I really want to do and how I want this to go. And, I hope I get to see it through, but that's what 2021 was for, or 2020, I should say, was for me. Including this year, I learned a lot more too.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel that 2020, the way that everything kind of slowed down, do you feel like that also gave you the chance to slow down and actually think instead of reacting so much?
Yeah, I felt like, if I look at my life for the previous years, I was just going. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just next,
checking the boxes, checking the boxes, checking
just
the boxes.
next. And I was just like, okay. And then I realized I literally was on that hamster wheel where it's like, okay, every day is the same thing. Every day is the same thing. And no real like pizzazz and delaying things that I should have been working on. And then all of a sudden it was like,
yeah. That was the same thing for me. And I know a lot of people say that when they start their business, that's the moment. But, you know, I've had my business now for a while, and, you know, I had some successes in the business. It wasn't that I hadn't. I had some good successes in the business, you know, for a couple of years. And, you know, that should have been like, oh, this is it. And that was the thing. It wasn't for me. And I think almost that was more disheartening to me than anything, because it was the same feeling I had whenever I was kind of working in the corporate space. Like, no matter what, you know, title I got to or what pay amount I got to, even if it was more than I was making before, I was expecting a feeling that I never got from it. And then when I stepped out in my own business, I thought it was going to be, oh, well, this will be different then. And it is now. But what I figured out is, yeah, there was a lot of things going on within corporate, but obviously when I took the corporate out of it, it was still a lot of the problems to dial right back to me and my mindset on things, and figuring out that I was checking the boxes and I was doing things because I thought I needed to, because whoever thought I should, or, you know, I wasn't really living as purposefully as I wanted to be.
Right.
And 2020 allowed me to stay home. I was home more. I was able to think about things more. You know, I did figure out that I do like the balance of being at home and being not at home. That just works for me better, because if not, then it's a lot. But it allowed me to not, I didn't have all these deadlines. I didn't have all these expectations, and it allowed me to sit there and start to peel things back and go, okay, this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit. And 2021 for me was a continuation of that. Like at the end of last year, I was like, okay, 2021, I'm going to start crushing some more goals. But as I started to get into it a little bit, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I don't want to start that same problem again. So instead of being like, okay, these are all my goals, I'm getting them all done, I made my long-term goals, but I attached them all to a purpose and a why. And all the things that didn't really fit, I didn't go ahead and all the way get rid of all of them. I just kind of let them sit there. Just wait, just for me to decide. And, you know, I do my little check-ins with myself, like I've told you that I do all the time. And there's a lot of times even I try to put the pressure on myself, like, you need to go ahead and do this. And, you know, I've decided that if it's going to get done, it'll get done at some point in time. But like some of that stuff, it's okay to go ahead and kill it off. Like one of the things I went ahead and got rid of was, I've had my CPR company for years. It was never a moneymaker. It was always a break even. It was something I believed in and I thought had purpose, which I still do. I mean, I think it's very important for people to learn CPR, but it also became one of those things that I just kept going because people expected me to. I was doing it, and I was running myself ragged, keeping up with it. And, you know, I was a licensed provider through Red Cross. I'd have to do all the licensures through them. And, you know, it was just a hot mess. And this was the first year that I finally decided, I closed it down March. And, you know, I do have people that still are like, hey, we need somebody local that does CPR. And I just refer them to the fire department and stuff. And, you know, that was something that I had a hard time giving up for a lot of years, even though it didn't fit in with any of my goals other than the fact that I thought it was an important skill. But I had to convince myself that, okay, great. When people call you, you'd be like, yes, you need to learn that skill. Let me give you so-and-so's name. And that was hard for me to turn over because, you know, I've said this a lot too, that I'm a sucker for a good cause, and I am a sucker for a good cause. I kept telling myself, but you can't quit doing that, because what about all the children? What about all the children that need to know CPR? What if somebody chokes, they need to do the Heimlich? And I'm like, good Lord, Maria. So it's just like, it's those little things that still kind of hover, and I get better, you know, but we all have those things. And I don't know, I think for 2022, I'm doing more of the same. I do have goals. Like I have goals for the year. Hey, I want to do this, do that. But it's more, I'm doing more of a laid back approach to it instead of tackling it hard and heavy.
Yeah, like running, like.
That's how I'm doing. Like, it's still here. Oh, I gotta do it. it's like a race.
I think a lot of us feel like that. Like once it's New Year, it's like, new me. Like we're gonna start. Like everything is just gonna be in its perfect place, and we're just gonna boom. Like we're just gonna crush it. Like that's how we feel. But it's
that
like
was one of my statements. One of the years was crush it.
Crush it. Just crush it. With Tito's and a Speedo. It's Jeffrey.
That I can get behind.
But yeah, like I think that's the thing too with this whole awareness thing. It's like you're realizing, I can still crush it, but crush it doesn't have to look like a full-on sprint. Like we're not like in the Olympics right now. Like we're going to take baby steps. And that's what I realized, with a lot of things. I'm like, oh my goodness, like just breaking things down into smaller pieces. That's my thing. Because that's where my anxiety loves to live. You know what I mean? It just shows up. It's like, yo, you want to like build an entire like course in like 6 hours, like, and just like,
I do.
Boom. Like you want to do that and just like, start, but then 5 minutes in, you're like, you can't do it because it's too much. And then like, maybe like 10 minutes of you were never going to do it anyway. And just kind of like dig yourself deeper into this like pity hole. But it's like, you don't have to do it like that. Like, I always, it's like every year it never fails. Like everybody wants to lose weight right now. It's like, or everybody's like, oh, I'm really self-conscious about my health. So I need to lose 30 pounds in like 2 weeks. It's like, whoa. like bite-sized pieces. Just whether it's like getting a new house or starting a new career or whatever it is. Bite-sized
living life
pieces.
more spontaneously.
Yeah, even spontaneous. Oh my goodness. Like I used to think like, oh my God, like spontaneous meant like, all right, so like we're going on vacation in like 2 weeks. Like, all right, so we need like $3,000. Like, let's do it, right? Like
spontaneous. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. People plan ahead. Like it's a process. Cause I'm like, how all these cats got these countdowns to vacation? Cause when I was younger and my parents went on vacation once, it's like, it just showed up in my mind. Like to me, it just showed up. So I was like, oh, you just like decide and you just you just go. I think some people do that, but most people have.
But they've also got to the point, like they've got themselves to that. That's
the key. That's the key. But it's still steps.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, you're just going to get this like box from IKEA and a desk appears. Small steps.
You got to find the desk in IKEA before you can get it. And then you got to hope that the instructions are able to be understood. And
you need the Allen key. All right.
You always need the Allen key.
You need the Allen key.
Gotta have it. Got to have it. No, I mean, I honestly think that I like making goals. I go back and forth about calling. I don't like calling resolutions. Let's make a resolution. Woo! Because to me, it's just, I don't know. It's more like I have goals. I have some goals that I'm continuing that are part of bigger long-term goals. I have some goals that I've killed off because I've decided it doesn't fit in my life anymore. I have some goals that it's a constant maintenance thing. Like you mentioned about, weight loss, which we could get into all day about how I do not like going by weight and why I don't like going by weight. And I could tell you all the stories from when I even was training and stuff all the time about how that's the dumbest thing ever. But I won't. I'll say that. But, I always want to keep myself healthy. I want to stay, and I say in shape, but I'm not going to be 20 again. I'm in my 40s.
Right.
I've had 7 kids. I'm not going to be 20 again. It's not going to happen, but I do want to be strong. I want to be flexible. I want to be, but, if you tie it to a certain number, I've seen that same number a whole lot of different health scenarios. So
exactly,
you can't necessarily tie it to a number. And I think it's the same thing, like with money goals. Like I like money goals. I have money goals. They're tied to a purpose of why though.
Right.
They're not just tied to money for the sake of money, because it doesn't matter. If you have an endless supply of money that's sitting in a bank somewhere, it's doing you. What is it? What is it doing?
What is it doing? That's a good question.
So I mean, it's like it's kind of one of those things that it's like money just for the sake of money.
Yeah, Just to have
doing for the sake of doing is pointless. And it's so everything needs to be tied back to a purpose and a why. So, I've seen a lot of people talking about, do you do resolutions? Yes or no? Do you blah, blah, blah. And I think it's fine. Call it a resolution, call it a goal, don't do it, do it, whatever. As long as it all ties back to, the idea that it's you living as part of your own purpose and your own why. And, you feel happy and good about the space you're in. If you don't feel happy and good about the space you're in, it is good to have a goal to attach it to.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you have to do it at the first of the year.
Yeah,
like I said last week, you can do it on August 27th. August 27th. I don't know why I picked that date last week, but it stuck in my head because I even thought about that. I'm like, why did I say August 27th? What's on the 27th?
I don't know. What is on the 27th?
Well, now it's the next restart of the new year. August 27th. You still got time, boo.
Yeah.
Still got time.
Yeah. Small steps, bite-sized pieces. That's it. Imagine them as little Hershey squares.
I don't like Hershey's.
I know it's all right.
Imagine it like it's actually a good
Ghirardelli.
Ghirardelli's all right.
Good
There's
diet.
there's a local company that's called Maverick Chocolate.
Imagine little squares of Maverick chocolate.
Okay. Now I'm on board.
All right. Are you with me? Okay.
I'm with you.
Speaking of like small businesses, right? So last night I was doing deliveries, right? So most people know I do food deliveries, right? So I ventured into this space that I didn't know existed. This company called Strong Island Ice Cream. And I was like, no way. What's this about? This dude named Paulie has an ice cream shop. And he was like...
His name's Paulie?
His name's Paulie.
I don't know why that makes it sound so much better, but it does. That just made the whole story.
He's such a nice guy. He's such a nice guy. So I go in to pick up this order for the customer, and we're talking for like 15 seconds, right? And I find out, I was like, yo, how is it? Because I've never really like had a, one-on-one in person like that with a small business owner. Like, and I was just like, yo, how is it? He's like, summers are great. It's an ice cream shop. He's like, summers are great. Obviously, this season slows down. And he was like, look, it's been great. He got into the local paper and he was like, he loved it because it brought a lot of business to him. And it just gave me another perspective, right, of being a small business owner and what that actually means, for different people. And I'm like, oh my God, he gave me an ice cream sample. And, most samples, you get a little like, this guy gives me a giant cup of ice cream.
Give you a whole ice cream. Here's an entire ice cream, Stacey.
I was just like, what, Paulie? So he's like, all right, and I love cookies and cream. So
I wonder if we can get Paulie on the show.
Yeah, I already asked.
Paulie.
Like, I was just like, dude. So the ice cream was insane. I was just like, it's
what flavor was it?
It was cookies and cream.
Oh, you said that already.
It's okay. It's fine.
I was still stuck on his name was Paulie, and I'm very excited about that.
You know me, I can't even just say Paulie. In my head, I'm like, it's Paulie, right? So, so the ice cream was amazing, and I'm like, oh my God, and he has he makes candles too, and like little glass jars with a handle. They smell like one was like apple pie or something like that. I was like, what, dude? Like, dude makes all the ice cream and everything. I was just like, how the heck did you become an ice cream man? Like, that's what really I want to know.
I think that what Paulie needs to do, this is some free business advice for you, Paulie. I think what he needs to do is get just a small little espresso machine and he can make affogatos. So for the wintertime, he can have affogato is like espresso with ice cream on top, and you can do different flavors and stuff. So that would bring in the wintertime business for actually not that much of a cost associated. So
Bing!
Bing for free.
Bing! I'm gonna tag Paulie in this. I gotta find his social media. I saw him on Instagram.
Paulie. Just tell him. I'll tell him what brand to buy. I'll tell him exactly what to do to get started. Because he could do fall drinks, he could do winter drink, like Christmas drinks. He can do, because that would work. That would fill in that time where it's slower because it's not ice cream season.
Right.
But it's always coffee season.
I'm like salivating just thinking about this is just amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, but oh my goodness, I was just like, what? So I have to go back. And I told him about the shows. I'm like, dude, you gotta like get on some shows, man. He's like, I'm not really a people person. I'm like, stop it. Get on the show.
we can talk him into it.
Yeah. He seemed convinced.
He's like, no.
Yeah, it's like, stop it. All right, I'll be there at 6.
Have you seen that TikTok with the Mariah Carey? Guys. You haven't seen that? Guys. Oh, yeah, I sent you that one guy. So it's like that. He was like, no, guys. So my business started back in.
Yeah.
I'm imagining this. I'm imagining the entire thing. And I'm imagining us telling Paulie how to help his business in the winter. And then he gets his espresso machine. And I can tell him how to make the drinks. And then his business booms. And he could be like, thank you, Stacey and Maria and Spontaneity for making my dreams come true. And then he sends us a Christmas card. And he signs it, Love Paulie.
Oh, my God. And then we like wear poodle skirts that day?
We should. I would love to see you in a poodle skirt, actually. I would do it with no problem.
A poodle skirt. It would look no.
I would love that. And we can do the poodle skirt dance.
Oh my God. Are we gonna get like little like white shoes with like the socks?
It's the white and the black shoes. It's the I used to have some of those when I was a kid. I had those.
I like the shoes.
Loafers.
I had the shoes. I like the socks. The skirt.
I had to choose them. I know, but I feel like if we're dressing the part, either that or you can dress up like the what they call them, green
John Travolta
with the hair slicked back, the white T-shirt, skirt.
Pull it up. I'm gonna do like bicep curls that day.
Yeah, you can do like my dad used to. My dad used to roll his cigarettes up in it. He thought he was that cool.
That I still think
he has COPD now, by the way, boys and girls. So don't try that at home.
Wait, what?
I said he has COPD though, so don't try that at home because he smoked.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, now you gotta bring it back.
Cigarettes was rolled up in there. I said, but he has COPD now, boys and girls. So don't try that at home. That means don't smoke. I was disclaimering the show so we don't get sued.
I thought we were just talking about the T-shirt thing because I still roll my shirts up.
No, I didn't know people put like the pack of cigarettes up in his sleeve. It was like a thing. Yeah.
It was
and then they'd hold the one cigarette behind their ear, and he had his hair slicked back, and he had like the jeans and the shirt and the boots. And
what do you think the sales were like for those little tiny black combs during that time period? You think they still are hitting those marks?
I would love to know. I would say who would be the biggest? Bic, probably.
Bic or oh God, I remember there was a store called Woolworth. You guys ever have one of those?
Yeah, have you ever seen Old Brother Where Art Thou? Stay out of Woolworth. Yeah.
No, but it sounds funny.
Stay out of Woolworth.
I used to love going to Woolworth. It's like the modern day like Odd Job or like Hobby Lobby.
That was a good store.
Man, you could buy like a picture frame and snacks in the same place. Like always like caramel cover.
You buy a jacket and then you could get it. They had like penny candy. You remember the
members only?
Penny candies?
Members only. Yeah.
Did you have penny candies?
What's a penny candy?
Candy that you got for a penny?
No.
Yeah. There was jars
maybe 25
of candy.
Cents. Wait,
no, there was some places that we had. I mean, I'm not like that old. There were some places that still hung on to a lot of those prices for a long time where I lived. That had like the jars, and they'd have like I don't know, like what are those like one little lollipops that like eat the taste buds off your tongue?
What?
They're like sweet tarts. They got a lot of citric acid in it. That's why they're like the sweet tart kind of lollipop. Horrible. It was horrible, but it was like you're like, ow, ow.
You know what it reminds me of? Jolly Ranchers. You just like have them, and eventually it becomes a weapon. Like it's like this is great. It's like sticks you in the roof of your mouth. You're like, oh my God, this is so sharp. I think some people would. use that as an analogy for like 2020 and 2021, right? I love these things that you're changing over
I just
here. This is
was
really
trying
cute.
to read it.
Yes.
Goal, make plan.
It sounds like a caveman wrote it.
Stick to it.
Set goal. Make plan.
Goal.
Make goal.
Make plan.
You sound like a caveman that happens to be Jamaican.
Happy face.
A Jamaican caveman. Make goal. Rasta, make goal.
I feel like the only reason we can get by laughing with that is because we were a family.
I'm a representative.
If not, we would have got yelled. I'd be like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Stacey did it. She's Jamaican. It's fine. I'm Jamaican in my heart.
Like, can you imagine, like, show a card, like a little card, like an association, like bloodline card?
Yeah.
Like, I can say these things.
Yeah, I can say these things because I am a member of.
It's like, there's my percentage.
I would be a member of like everything. I feel like that I actually might do that. I'll make a card, but mine will be like,
dare you?
You make it
put it in a scroll.
Like,
yeah,
like a scroll. Be like, and
like a CVS.
Be like, I'm missing this and this and this and this. My people. Only thing that I can figure out is apparently my people never settled down. They were just like
they're busy. They're working.
They were busy. They were busy.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, that looks good over there. Let's go over there and get some of that.
Look, we're just like any other species, sort of. Maybe.
I don't
Possibly.
know. Point is set goal.
Set goal. This episode is brought to you by Set Goal and Stinkbug. Stinkbug set goal. Stick to it. Stick to it. Reach goal by Stinkbug.
Don't make 2022 stink.
Yeah.
Set goal.
Set goal.
Be spontaneous. They still like they don't go hand in hand, but they do. And that's why you should watch this show, because we tie it together.
That's why you can't miss an episode.
Churning the butter. Okay. I'm done with that now.
It's like, you know,
I kind of glimpse at myself and I'm like, no, Maria, stop.
That
my brain
is
like, yeah, keep going. And I'm like, no,
butter
no.
churner. She churns butter.
So, what's your 2022 goal? I told you my 2022 goal was to kind of just continue to, make goals, make plans, tie to purpose, but not be so strict on the win of all my goals. Like some things you have to have a win too, obviously, but not everything.
Right. For me, it's funny you asked me for my word of the year yesterday, and
I forgot to ask you that.
I started out with believe. Right? Started out with believe.
Remember that was like a universe deposit. You're like, believe.
Yeah, it was like, what? And there was like dust falling. It was like glitter. And I was like, oh my God. And then Mariah Carey showed up.
And you're like, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Over it.
So like these double doors open and she just like appears in like a red dress.
You know she's extra bougie. You know she is. Even though now she's like promoting McDonald's. So I feel like she's
really
downgraded herself. There's a Mariah Carey menu. I seen the ad. I'm like, girl.
Really? I didn't even see that.
She's slumming now. That's slumming. That's the food slum.
I think McDonald's is trying to, be like when they start to redo them, they're trying to look like a cafe.
That's right. But I feel like Mariah Carey would have been like, good job for you. I'm really glad. But no, I have boundaries. And no. But no, she didn't. She's slumming.
Hey.
So go ahead. I
paying the bills, girl.
Still.
So I actually changed my word of the year.
What is it now?
I changed it. It's start.
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 That's a good one for you, actually.
Yeah.
That sounded like it was a diss, but it wasn't. That was actually like, whoo, I like start.
Yeah.
Get out of your head. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. But that's the thing, because I think a lot. You know me. I'm like,
you want to think. You do want to think.
But I think too much.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I don't do anything. And I'm just like 6 months later, I'm like,
there's an even medium. In the middle.
Yeah.
Middle. And that's what's funny. I'm like that, like you are on some things, but I'm also like, it'll be fine on other things. Like just dive without thinking one thing and be like, they'll be fine.
You're like, parachutes? Are you kidding?
That's how it is. They're like, did you get your parachute? Oh no, go get
It's
that.
like, no.
So it's like my thing is I try to get myself in the middle, because you don't want to blindly always jump, but you don't want to get stuck in your head to where you don't start either. So it's like,
exactly.
do you ever blindly jump though?
If it has to do with like going out, sure. And
like
that's
going
as far
out on a date or
like no, like if somebody says, yo, like there's a party. Oh, I used to blindly do that. That was the only space that spontaneity was celebrated.
You were like, booze?
Yeah, I was just like, yo, where is it? It's within 10 miles. Let's go. You know what I mean? Who's driving? Not me. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like in that world. But when it comes to other things that I want to venture into, like writing a book or doing, like I have all these ideas, and then they become these ideas that just kind of float in the idea world, and then they just stay up there, and I never go, oh, let's do this one. Nope, it just kind of stays there.
Well, you want to keep having ideas.
I want to pick the fruit.
Pick the fruit, yeah. You want to have the ideas. Let the fruit grow. Let it be up there. But occasionally you'd be like, ooh, that one looks good. Let's try that one. Because here's the thing. What's the worst? That's one thing I try to ask myself. If it's something that I do get stuck in a space of not wanting to do it because I want it to be perfect. That's usually is the things that I want to be perfect that I sit down on. I sit and think, no, it has to be so perfect. I want it to be color coded. I want it to be organized. I want everything done before I start it. There's certain things, and it's like there's no rhyme or reason sometimes to it. It's hilarious that there's not. One of the things that I pick, that I get hyper focused on perfection on this thing, and I'm psychoanalyzing myself here, and if my therapist is listening, she might be like, that's not your job.
Baby, that's not what we discussed.
I don't care. This is what I'm saying. I'm going to feel this. I'm allowed to speak my feelings.
Yes.
But anyway, no, I think it's because there's so many things that go on in my life that I can't control. I pick this, and I'm like, but this, you can't have this. This is mine. I will get it exactly the way that I want it, and nobody can touch it. But the problem is I'm not doing myself any favors.
Right.
Because then I sit on it, and I don't have it for like the next 5 years. So and I think for me, the hard part is I'm usually dragging myself from one side or the other, where I'm like, girl, stop freaking jumping head first without a parachute. And I'm like, get off. It doesn't matter what font it's in. So I'm constantly
telling me. That's a quote from my head. I'm like, is the font radiating the energy of freedom? Is that...
Is it fun but not too fun? Is it serious but not too serious?
About the colors.
Does it speak? When you look at it, does it speak for you? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I feel you on that. 100%.
So,
like, I know it.
And I mean, there's something to be said about branding. You know what I mean? And I think that's another place I struggle, because I know the importance of having a good brand.
Yeah.
But what I always have to remind myself is I'm not Apple. I'm not Amazon.
Yeah.
I'm not any of these big giant companies where somebody's going to look at it and be like, excuse me, that's the wrong font and that hex code is off.
Yeah.
You know, nobody even, I guarantee you, most people don't even know what color any of my crap is anyway. So it's like, I usually get to the point that I'm like, so I have questions in there on Post-it notes that when I'm going to do something, I ask myself these questions, and it's ridiculous. I have to do that like a child, like I do with my kids. Did you brush your teeth? Yes. Did you brush your hair? Yes. Do you have socks on? Yes. What about underwear? Yes. I have to do that now with myself with the stuff, to be like, is this going to make you more money if you spend this on it? You know, and I assigned my hourly rate to myself, and I'm like, okay, is it worth me paying X amount of dollars more to fix that font? No. Then no. You know, it just doesn't make sense. Right. I try to talk to myself like I would a client, because I'm great at telling clients all these things, and and then I'd come back and be like, myself, like, but you just told them. And I'm like, yeah, no, but they're not here. Yeah. It's hard, okay?
It's funny. We are so good at delivering the tools for others, but when it comes to us, we're just like, oh, I gotta take that advice too. It's
all right,
easy
though.
externally.
It's all right.
But we got this. What's your, before we run, because it's already 2:06, what's your word of the year?
I stuck with purpose this year because,
Mm,
I mean, it's always in the back of my mind, but this year I want to dig even deeper in it because, I mean, you can get as deep, as deep, as deep, as deep, as deep as you want on purpose. And I think even though I feel like I've been kind of more ingrained into it than I ever have been,
mm,
I feel like I've still got work to do on it. And
mm,
some of the things has been even looking at all the main areas of just of life. And
mm,
well, I've got that one webinar coming up in January just on money. And
mm,
it's funny because money is something that I never felt qualified to talk about. I'm not an accountant. Trust me, you
mm.
do not want me doing your accounting. You do
It's
not.
balanced.
Yeah, you do not want me doing anything to do with your accounting. So I didn't feel that I could talk on that.
Right.
But I actually am the one that needs to talk on that because I wasn't ever taught anything about money except how to balance a checkbook. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. Nothing. My family didn't have money. So when you don't have money, you don't, well, most of the time when you don't have money, you don't know how to manage money, which
Mm,
is stupid. Really, it should be the opposite, but well, that's
mm,
neither here nor there. But I didn't know how. So it's like I was always really great and making money because I was resourceful. I'd always, it was a need thing. Like, oh, I need this. Well, I don't have this. How do I, you know what I mean? So it was that came naturally to me, but I
mm.
didn't know how to manage it. And as I figured out how to manage it by trial and error, falling on my face like everything else I've ever done in my entire life, I started managing it, but only as a family unit, right? So
Mm.
every spare cent would go toward, a family savings to my husband's retirement for the family, which there's nothing wrong with that except for, everybody.
Where your money at, baby?
Well, that was the thing. And I was divorced once
Mm-hmm.
and I should have learned my lesson then, but Maria's 2x4 to the head kind of person. I'm like, oh no, I didn't learn it. I was like, oh, I'll be fine this time. Be fine. I
And
was
then you're
almost
like,
divorced
why
again.
did this happen
And then
again?
I was like,
Oh.
wait, at this point I'm a lot older, and I'm sitting there thinking, I've never had my own financial goals. Even though I was working and making money, the only time I had anything that I got put into savings or retirement was when I was working for someone else that did it. And that's not been a lot of years of my life. So, like, my retirement was pathetically sad. And, I didn't have any financial goals that was just for me. It was
Mm-hmm.
all, family and based on my husband and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
it, that was kind of a wake up call to me. And that I needed to, yes, I still want to plan for the family. Yes, I still
Mm-hmm.
want to help my husband be able to plan for his retirement, but I also have to do it for myself. And,
Mm-hmm.
that was a discussion piece between Chad and I when we got back together, even because I didn't want him to think it was a fail safe, that I wasn't really into working things out. It's not that. It was not
Mm-hmm.
that at all. It was actually that I should have been doing it all along. It's just I feed myself food.
Mm-hmm.
I need to feed, my financial security. I need to be able to have that. Making the money made me feel like I was financially secure because I was like,
Right.
oh, I'm making money. I'm good. I'm making money. But it's not the same thing. And you realize
Right.
that as you get older. And when I started really digging into it and thinking about it, that was a big issue for me that I had to solve. So anyway, point is that there's a lot of things I've figured out through
Mm-hmm.
trial and error on how to be able to not only make the money, because like I said, that was something that was natural to me, which I know some people's opposite, but to be able to manage it in such a way that I'm able to build my own, I say wealth, but it's not even about being rich or anything. It's just about being, secure and,
Mm-hmm.
doing that with even within investments and
That's the
tangible
key.
investments,
Money, there's seeds, right? It's a tool.
absolutely.
There's seeds. You have to plant them in places so that they can grow and making it work for you. So, yeah, I'm following you. I'm following you.
So purpose, I don't know. Purpose is a big one.
Yeah, like what's the point? That's how I write. Like when I write something, I think about like what's the point? Why are we putting these words to paper? Or when you're investing, what's the point? Why are you putting this money for this company? Why are you putting it in this account? Why are you with this bank? Why are you not with the bank? Why are you putting it in Bitcoin? Why are you buying an NFT? Like, those are the questions you have to ask yourself. What is the point? What's the purpose of it? Because even for me, like when I told you I took that deep dive in 2020, like with stocks and everything, I was like, what's the point? What's the point of it? And I was like, oh, I want to see what happens. Because I think the best way sometimes to learn something is freaking just go out and do it. All right, so I was spontaneous there. See, I said I wasn't spontaneous. I didn't realize consciously. I was spontaneous
that was
there.
Spontaneous. That's
yeah.
good.
It's like, oh, I got a couple of dollars. All right, just throw it in there, see what happens. Oh my God, it worked? What?
Yeah.
Do it again.
Well, and I think it's like anything else. Don't risk what you can't afford to lose. I say that all the time. That's
like,
to
don't
be
take
said
your
with
rent.
business. That could be said with investment. You know what I mean? Don't risk what you can't afford to lose. Right. You know, I wouldn't take your entire paycheck and go buy, you know, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't do that.
Don't do that.
But, you know, would I, you know, take $5 and whatever? You know what I mean? What'd you say?
So you start out with a small amount.
Yeah, you start with small amounts, but I mean, I do think you need to, like, a lot of people are talking about crypto and Bitcoin, and I, you know, I like that stuff. I do have that stuff. I struggled with dealing with anything public for a while after my whole incident. Debacle with the public company and all that. That was a horrible time in my life. And after I got out of that, I was like, no more stocks ever again. And it's funny that I said that. And I probably even said that on the shows. Because I was like, no! But that's not a realistic. I mean, I already had some. Mm-hmm. They're not going away.
They're not bad. You just got to be careful.
No, it's just everything else. And it's just, you know, I mean, I think like with money, you have to think about like diversifying like your income streams just as much as you're diversifying like your portfolio.
Right.
EFTs, NFTs, you know, different stock options, real estate options, you know, and my thing is, you know, putting my natural skills to use and, you know, diversifying income. I focus on that more heavily than I do on the other like a lot of the, you know, crypto and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I dabble in a lot of it, and I have some, and I've made some good strides on some of it, but that's not my focus as much as it is creating passive income streams.
Right. Absolutely. Can you imagine you just wake up and you're just like, cool, you know? I didn't have that yesterday, but I've got it today. What a great space.
Well, and I think that's a goal. There's a goal to do more of that because I only have so many hours in a day.
Right.
We all only have so many hours in a day.
We all have the same amount. It's about what you do with it, you know?
And playing catch up, I feel like now.
Yeah, well, at least you're not playing mustard.
That was a terrible joke. That was a dad joke.
Look, I know one person would enjoy it, and it's, well, two. I got two people, me and Natasha. Natasha would probably really appreciate that. Yeah.
She would be like, ah!
Yeah, she'd be like, oh
my God. Yeah, it's okay. It was a little bit funny. I smirked.
Yeah, right?
I mainly smirked because of how bad it was.
It's because of those little moments of joy.
That's the purpose. That's what keeps me going. Stay suppressed.
You're welcome. Okay. So let's sum it up because we're at 2:15 now.
Oh,
we're having a good time here. This is great. I think for the final show of the year, I think we did a great job. You know, it was brought to you by our sponsors. We got Stink Bug, and
yeah. I changed my mind. For the new year, I'm going to plan to not do this.
Not do what?
The stink bug thing. I don't even know why. I think because that's right. Last week we did woolly work. And I was like, we don't have a sponsor. I need to make that up. I'm going to put on stink bug, dude. You're your stink.
It's so funny. I didn't know what those. I called them flat tops. Like, you ever watch Dick Tracy with flat top? He had a literally like flat top. See, look at it, flat top.
Okay.
You're welcome. All right.
Thank you. So, I guess I'll see you next year.
Come on, my joke was bad. Like, you pulled that? You pulled that?
Okay, I was struggling on how to wrap this up at this point. I'm like, okay, awkward silence, sneak bug in top corner, and awkward joke about the new year.
Oh my God. Whatever, Maria. I'll see you next year. I hope everybody has a great New Year's. Drink safely and drive separately. And
Drink
don't,
minimally.
yeah, drink
You don't want to wake up
minimally.
somewhere naked, not knowing where you're at.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. It's
You
not
don't.
fun.
It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, rumor has it that if you do
I
that.
definitely would not know anything about that ever.
Yeah, never, because we are not living that life currently. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great New Year's, and yeah, well, I guess, God, fine, we'll see you next year. Whatever.
Yes! Yes!
Whatever. I'm gonna let you close out the show, Maria, or ask you to rather.
Basking in this moment that we created. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. See you next year.